but it not only was it a good it was a short documentary, but it was good to have people there. So there was a couple policy people just like who knew, like lawyers who just knew kind of like everything about what's going on in here locally, and also Tony himself was there answering questions, and the filmmaker. So it was very worthwhile. They will be showing it at the end of this month at the observatory, and they have showings pretty much every other day from now until next month, and they're really trying to cover all of the counties, so just trying to get the word out. And so I thought it was a really good movie, and I found out about it on Facebook, which is so random, but if people do want to find more about that, I think that would be the easiest way, or just Googling Tony the movie, and you'll find a website with all of the showings.
Very cool.
Yeah. So those are my weekly recommendations. Yeah.
Who's next?
I'll go. So my TV recommendation is a series called Epically Latered on Viceland. They just picked it up. Epically Latered, like Vice used to do just a YouTube series, but they turned it into like a full-on show where they do an hour long like segment about each episode's about a different skateboarder or someone involved in skateboarding and stuff, and different stories. The first episode this series or season was about Bam Margera and like kind of how he fell off and like went kind of down this dark path, and kind of like became an alcoholic, and like how he's trying to get back from that. But there's been about 5 episodes this season, and like they're just really well done, and like interesting stories about people involved in skateboarding and stuff like that. So that's really cool. I think Viceland's kind of doing some really interesting stuff. It's like they just got this channel probably like a year ago, maybe
less than that, I would say.
But it's kind of funny because like most of their like content is like really stoner like oriented. Like I think they have
like a party like stories. Like they recreate like, I was at this crazy party one time, and they recreate like what they did at a party. And then there's another one with like Andrew WK where it's just him and like doing things. It's a really random channel. Yeah.
They have one with, I think it's Action Bronson, the rapper, and it's just him getting high watching Ancient Aliens. And it's just them watching him comment on Ancient Aliens while getting high. And I don't know, but anyway, this show, Epically Latered, is actually really well done. The latest episode, I think, was on Chad Muska and how he moved to San Diego from Arizona as like a young kid. Just took a bus out here and was sleeping on the streets of Mission Beach and stuff like that, like just sleeping outside and stuff, and getting his start, and how he went on to party with like Paris Hilton and like is living in Hollywood and doing his thing now. But anyway, yeah, it's a really good series. I really recommend that one. Also been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm with Annie, like we talked about earlier, but I actually really like it. She had some negative things to say about it, but I think it's kind of true to the formula, except for the fact that this season they've kind of had stories carry over from episode to episode a little bit more. The other seasons of Curb, they've done more kind of the Seinfeld kind of formula where each episode doesn't really relate to the next one, and stories don't carry on for much longer, but it's still like the same same Larry David, still kind of
Grumpy.
curmudgeon-y kind of guy that's like just upset by everything. But I'm really excited to have it back because it's really funny, and we were watching all the past seasons before to get ready for it, and just really stoked for it. My movie recommendation, I'm probably just gonna say Don't Be a Menace is on Netflix right now. And if you haven't seen it, it's fucking incredible. It's one of my favorites, and probably I don't want to say it's the first, but probably the first spoof movie that the Wayans brothers did before their whole, scary movie and
Yeah, that was
and
years before.
Yeah, way before, but just super funny and yeah, just go check that out.
Yeah, it's like making fun of all the like hood movies that came out in like the
The
early
John
90s.
Singleton stuff, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be a menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. I think is the full title of the movie.
It's genius.
It's so great. And that's about it.
Emma?
Well, I just have a movie called Super Dark Times that I watched recently. It just got released. It just follows this group of teenagers that, I think it's set in like the 90s, right? I'm not sure, but from the movie, like there's a lack of technology, like phones and social media, so it's like, oh, like how you were saying, your sister was saying, like, oh, they could have just, why aren't they using their phone, or why aren't they calling someone on their cell phone? But yeah, it's kind of like in this movie, it follows this group of teenagers that something bad happens to them, and it's just kind of like what the decisions that they make to like that they think are right, and it just takes them into like this dark spiral that they don't know they don't ask for help, they don't go to adults or anything like that, and it just goes through their choices that they make that lead into something really bad. I highly recommend it. I don't know, Wes, have you seen the movie?
Yeah, I saw it. We were talking about this the other day. I thought it was really good. I think they don't say throughout the movie like what like time frame it specifically takes part in, I guess, but they drop you hints. Like the movie opens with these two teenagers. They're looking through the yearbook and they're talking about girls that they think are hot or that they would sleep with or whatever, and they have the TV, a tube TV in the background, and they're trying to watch like the scrambled porn. Mm-hmm. And that's something that doesn't exist anymore,
right,
as far as I know. So I feel like they do subtle hints to drop, and of course like the lack of, there's no cell phones. I think like the video, there's a scene where one of the kids come and he goes over to his friend's house, and his friend is playing what looks like, I think, like a Sega or something like that. So I thought that was really cool and unique, like to make this story about kind of like angsty teenagers in kind of like as a period piece, I guess. And I can't say too much about the film or the plot without giving too much away, but it's just about how kids aren't really thinking things through, I guess, logically, because you know how your brain is still developing and stuff, and you have a different aspect on life at that time. It's fine. Yeah, but Super Dark Times, that's an awesome recommendation.
I thought about it because it's almost related to the movie we just watched.
Yeah.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. So it kind of follows some of the same things. So if you're interested in this one, you might like Super Dark Times. And they're like all newcomers. All the actors are super young and newcomers. I don't think I've seen them in anything else. so they're fairly new.
When did it come out?
It just came out maybe last month, I would say.
So
Really
you
recently.
saw it in the theater?
No, not in the theater.
Oh.
It's you can stream it online.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Are we moving on to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a pretty controversial one. I think it's a Netflix original. And it's called The Babysitter.
Oh, I knew you were gonna pick this one.
Yeah, it's a horror comedy. It's very campy. The synopsis is following the story of Cole, a young boy whose parents go out of town and leave him with his regular and oddly attractive babysitter. After being dared to spy on his sitter and her friends, he then uncovers they are a part of a sinister cult that may be looking to sacrifice him. Yeah.
It's a movie? I'm sorry?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Oh, nice.
It's on Netflix.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can.
Yeah,
watch it
it's like
tomorrow.
it's a pretty rad cover. It's like the chick, and it's like pink, very like 80s esque, and you can see the kid's reflection in her sunglasses and stuff. I watched this after getting like an actual negative review. I thought I wasn't going to like it at all, and it turned into like this thing that completely like blew my expectations out of the water. It's kind of like, it's weird. It's like a fucked up version of Home Alone, if I could compare it to anything, like an adult version of Home Alone. The kid, he can't be more than 11 or 12. He just is so good and believable. He's what makes the movie, but it's rated R, and it's super fun. This is another one I can't say too much without giving important plot points away, but definitely watch this. You can stream it if you have Netflix for free.
Who is in the movie? Is there anyone that we would recognize?
Who's the chick that you said that you...
Oh, Bella Thorne.
Oh, the one that she wears like nothing all the time.
So I've never seen this movie, but I was interested, so I looked it up, or whatever I found on social media. I would read anything that I could find, and I read this negative review about how it was just the chick that reviewed the film was saying how she just expected more with women in horror, in horror films, and how this movie just was not, it just disappointed her so much with how they portrayed women in there. And I mean, knowing Bella Thorne and being in there, I'm sure I've never seen the movie, but all she could, she said that, Bella Thorne making out with another woman and all this, and not very much covering up or whatever. So she was just speaking on how she just wished that women would be portrayed in a more positive light in horror films. And
well, it sounds like Bella Thorne was playing herself, which is cool because I don't mind that she's got these funky outfits all the time.
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of her. She does what she wants. She doesn't hide who she is.
She's all partying and shit. I'm like,
yeah.
She better invite me.
She better invite me.
But I don't know. What do you think? Since you watched the film, what's your opinion on that?
That's the thing is, I think that critic,
that one review that I read.
Yeah, that critic didn't really get the point of the film because it's making fun of itself, you know what I mean? In the tradition of the original Scream, where it's very meta and it's kind of poking fun at these other various films in the genre. It's a horror film that doesn't take itself seriously, and it goes off the rails and does crazy shit, but it's very much intentional. And they do dumb stuff that's they poke fun at sexism and stuff like that, where what's her name, Bella's character, she's because all the adult people are supposed to be still maybe 18, 19 years old, and the chicks, they're very much besides the babysitter herself is they're